If there's one thing that we soap makers accumulate, it is soap scraps. It could be the ends of loaves that we have trimmed off. It could be soap that has either lost its fragrance or has faded in color, which is common with naturally colored soap, or it could be both. We also like to scrape the last of our soap batter from batches into little tiny molds, so the stuff that doesn't fit into our main molds. And they could be usable at home, but this isn't saleable, and it's also lost its color and fragrance. So there are lots of ways that we can accumulate these soap scraps, and there are also quite a few ways that we can recycle them. And I'm going to take you through my favorite, hands down way of transforming old soap into new, and that is using the partial rebatch method. Hi, I'm Tanya from Lovely Greens, and I'm an experienced natural soap maker and the author of Botanical Soap Making, Oil Infusions for Vibrant Natural Colors. Please give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe, and that way you will see more soap recipes from me popping up in your feed in the future. Now let's get to how to partially rebatch soap. When it comes to the partial rebatch method, the idea is that you finally grate up soap and you can use it at up to 40% of a new batch of cold processed soap. And you can use a lot less, and in fact with this one it's 28%. This one down here, this is 15%. And what you do is the other portion of that amount is the soap making oils of a new batch. And when you add the soap shavings into the new batch of soap, you basically pulse them up before you add the lye. And that way you get really fine pieces of soap right throughout your bars. I have tons of soap scraps at the moment because of this. These are all naturally colored soap using plants that I have made for the Botanical Soap Making ebook. I made tons and tons of batches in varying shades so that I can show you how to use infused oils to create soap that is beautiful, stunning, has long-lasting color. And these are all fully cured. I've made them months ago. And not only do I have all of the bars, but I have tons of these. So basically the ends of the loaves that I've trimmed off, and I don't want to waste them. So when you have soap scraps like that, there are quite a few different methods that you could use to recycle them. And some of the more popular ones include chopping them up and then putting them into a fresh batch of soap as embeds. You could also grate them up and stir them into soap batter as confetti soap. And then you can also grate up all of the soap, put it into a crock pot, put some water in, kind of melt it down, and that is a full rebatch. Well, the partial rebatch is kind of a marriage between confetti soap and a full rebatch, only it's a lot easier, and the little pieces that are the old soap can be very subtle. In some cases, you barely even notice them. The partial rebatch method is a cold process soap method that helps you recycle soap scraps into new bars. You can use old soap with any new soap recipe, but it's best to keep the soap shavings at 40% or less of the total weight of soaping oils. In this recipe, soap shavings make up 28%, and I'm choosing some pretty vibrant colors to help illustrate how the method works. The other 72% is made up of new oils, including coconut oil, shea butter, olive oil, and castor oil. I've also included enough lavender essential oil to scent the entire 800-gram batch of soap. At the end, I will have 10 new bars of soap that contain 28% old soap and that smell gorgeous. This is an intermediate soap making technique. And as with all cold processed soap recipes, ensure that you measure the ingredients by weight and that you take the proper soap making safety precautions. The full recipe and guidance on safety are in the caption, and I'll put a link up on the screen. The first job is weighing and grading the old soap. You can use a standard cheese grater or a food processor if you're making a larger batch. The finer the pieces are, the better they'll blend into the new soap though. Then measure out the rest of your ingredients and use them to start making a new batch of cold processed soap as you normally would. Mix the lye solution and gently melt the solid oils in a stainless steel pan. If you are new to cold process soap making, there is free guidance on lovelygreens.com, and I also offer the Natural Soap Making for Beginners course. Once the solid oils are fully melted, add the grated soap to the pot. Leave the lye solution for now to carry on cooling down. Next comes the step that requires a little bit of patience. Use an immersion blender to pulse the soap shavings into the warm oils. It won't completely disappear, but you'll notice the pieces becoming much finer as you blend. Depending on the soap and your stick blender, this can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. If your blender starts feeling hot, give it a short break before continuing. You'll also want to monitor the pan of oils and your lye solution and cool them to about 38 Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. By this point, the grated soap should be evenly dispersed through the oils. Once everything is at temperature, pour the lye solution into the oils. Blend just as you would any normal cold process soap. And because there are already soap particles in the mixture, trace can look a little different. So instead of worrying about reaching a light trace, I usually blend until I reach a nice medium trace where the batter begins holding its shape. That's also the perfect time to add any essential oils or other additives that you might be using. One thing to keep in mind is fragrance. If your grated soap was already scented, that fragrance is still part of the finished soap, even if you can't smell much of it anymore. So when calculating essential oils for your new batch, make sure you account for both the old soap and the fresh soap to stay within safe usage rates. Now, simply pour the batter into your mold. Give it a few taps on the counter to release trapped air, smooth or decorate the top, and insulate or process the soap as you normally would. I use the oven process method, which means putting the soap in an oven pre-warmed to 75 Celsius, 170 Fahrenheit. Turn the heat off and leave it inside overnight. The next day, you can take your soap out and cut it into bars. With this batch, some of the old soap has colored the entire bar a light pink, and the other pieces remain as larger speckles. This recipe will give you 10 brand new bars of soap that have all of those soap shavings inside. And even though the soap shavings are fully cured, you do have to cure these bars for a further 4 to 6 weeks. And that's because there's some brand new soap in there, and that needs to cure as well. So with this recipe, I wanted to illustrate the partial rebatch method, and I wanted to show you how all the speckles work. So you can see all of the pink and the orange within this bar. Over on my website, lovelygreens.com, I've done the same, but using quite a dark indigo color as well. And again, it's a very similar effect, but with blue. And if you want all of the written instructions, you should head over there, and I'll put a link up on the screen. However, one of the best applications of this method is using scraps of soap from one batch and make the same exact batch and incorporate them in. So if you do that and the color is very similar, then the speckles will be very subtle and you won't notice them at all. It is just such a clever way of being able to reuse those soap scraps. So if you've got any questions about this method, drop me a comment down below. If something hasn't made sense or you're trying to work out how much you should use in your batch, let me know as well. And again, if you have not already got a copy of Botanical Soap Making Oil Infusions for Vibrant Natural Colors, definitely check it out, because there are so many plants that can give beautiful, long-lasting color. And I have made many batches of soap and I've experimented with tons of plants. And the ones I feature in the ebook are the ones that work very well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. See you in the next video. Bye for now.